Hey guys, Techify, and today I've got a review of a Superlight wireless gaming mouse, the Pulsar Xlite Wireless. So guys, let's get into this. So I just want to quickly mention that this product was kindly sent out to me to review. That being said, my priority is to keep my reviews honest. Most things I review I buy myself. However, when I am sent stuff, if I were to hypothetically give something a negative review and they never wanted to send me something again, I don't care, my priority is to be as honest as possible. That being said, I've had a good few days to get to grips with this mouse, plenty of time gaming with it, so I can tell you all about it and what I think about it. The first thing is, obviously it's a wireless gaming mouse that's just 58 grams, or on my scales it weighs in about 59, so my scales are cheap, that's within a reasonable error I think. And that is putting it very close to the G Pro Wireless, making it a fairly direct competitor. That being said, it is just $75, which is roughly half the price, depending on where you're getting your G Pro Wireless from. What is also impressive, and you'll be surprised about considering the big empty space, which we'll talk about in a minute, is the weight distribution is brilliant and it just makes it feel really good and really high quality. Weight wise, it's super nice to use. If you've not had the chance to use an ultralight gaming mouse, or especially a wireless one, it's something I really recommend if you can get the chance. It's not for everyone, but personally, I'm a huge fan of it. Along with that low weight with any mouse comes build quality concerns. Something like the G Pro Wireless, which I will have a review of soon, is obviously absolutely solid and it doesn't have any holes in it. It just is very good build quality. Looking at the Pulsar Xlite Wireless, seeing the pictures before I received the mouse, I was a little bit concerned. This, design with the holes in, slightly different to a honeycomb design like the final mouse has, is something I like. It's quite unique, and side to side it is very solid. Top to bottom it was so much more solid than I expected. Just when it's flat on a desk, pushing on the top, it's also completely solid. Obviously the bottom, you do have a lot of empty space. While these are fairly strong, they're not completely solid and flex free. Obviously when you're gaming there is absolutely no pressure and force on these bits whatsoever, so they're absolutely fine, and like I said, they're pretty solid anyway. I've had mice with solid bottoms that have more flex than this. That being said, this big empty space and whatnot may be a long-term durability concern. Hopefully it wouldn't be, but obviously without testing the mouse for months or years, you have no real way to know if somehow in future that could be a problem. While on the bottom of the mouse, the sensor is the PAW3370. It's a really great sensor and it's a top of the range sensor. There's nothing else you want. All sensors nowadays are pretty flawless in terms of their accuracy, and this has a nice low lift-off distance of 3 playing cards, which is exactly what you want. On the bottom of the mouse, the feet are really good as well. Most manufacturers are getting really good at putting good stock feet on their mice, and for me, I had no issues with these. I'm really starting to have a issue comparing and saying which feet on mice are better. Obviously, they're not going to be quite as good as some aftermarket ones. The feet are definitely not something I'm desperate to change or anything like that, but as far as stock feet goes, these are really good. For the clicks, they've used KLGM 8.0 switches, which is exactly what I like to see. They're my personal favourite switches. They seem to have very good durability on mice I've used. They don't degrade in feel very much, and overall I just think they're a great switch. Here's a sound test for those of you who are interested of the left click and the right click. The scroll wheel also feels very nice. It's not a particularly heavy scroll wheel, but it does scroll distinctly between each step, and it has a fairly satisfying click to it, which I'll give you a sound test of now. The side buttons I personally don't use that much anyway, but I do like the design and positioning and shape of them. The feel of them isn't quite as clicky as I'd like, I'd say. Maybe that's just personal preference. I can't really put anything on it to say like what an issue with them is, but personally they're just not my favourite. That being said, they're just side buttons and they did the job fine. Now the most important thing of the mouse, and the thing that in my opinion really separates it from the G Pro Wireless, other than the design as such, is the shape. Now this is very similar to a Zowie EC2. Unfortunately I don't have one to show you guys, but you can just take my word for it, and if you've used one before you'll know exactly what you're getting with this. Obviously it's a right-handed ergonomic mouse. I'll put the dimensions on screen. It's a fairly big, fairly chunky mouse. It's not huge, but it is definitely not for those with really small hands, unless you're a palm user. If you're a palm user, this is obviously going to be a great shape. Similarly, if you're a claw or fingertip user, fingertip, personally, I can't fingertip grip a ergonomic mouse very well, maybe you can. And then for claw grip, it does work quite well. If you have bigger hands than me, mine are about 17 centimeters by 8.5 centimeters, you'll probably be a little bit more comfortable. For me personally, for this to be my main mouse, it's just a little bit too big and wide. However, for plenty of people with those bigger hands, I think this is a really good shape. While some people say, oh, cloning other mice shapes isn't the way to go, I think tried and tested shapes that a lot of people like is a really good idea in some scenarios. It means somebody can buy a mouse and know exactly what they're getting with the shape and just can focus on the upgrade in features or wireless, lightweight, things like that. The reason I say that is I get a lot of messages from people saying they like a particular mouse but they need something new, it's not made anymore, they really love the shape and there's just nothing that they can get that's the same. So something like this would be a great upgrade if you already have a Zowie EC2 or something similar. One thing I do really like about this mouse, obviously it's a wireless mouse, to charge it uses USB Type-C, something like even the G Pro Wireless or the even harder to get hold of expensive Final mouse uses micro USB, and that's something I consistently find disappointing. I think nowadays, in the year we're in, every mouse or every product really shouldn't be using micro USB, we should be onto Type-C, so I'm really glad they used that. Battery wise, they claim it will last up to 70 hours. I've not sat with a stopwatch for 70 hours, but what I can say is the battery life seems to be pretty decent. It's not really a concern for me, particularly exactly how long it lasts, as long as I'm not having to charge it every single day and it's lasting a good few days, close to a week or so at a time, I'm going to have no issues. And I think it's definitely going to be lasting longer than that, which is really nice to see. It does have some software which is pretty basic, but it does what it's supposed to do. It lets you change the DPI, which you can tell what DPI you are on by a LED which kind of lights up. It's not, there's no fancy RGB on this mouse. It's a very practical mouse and it does the job. If you don't want to get the software, there are some button combinations. I believe something I click a scroll wheel and a side button at the same time or something. Things like that, you can change the DPI on the fly like that. There's no extra DPI changing button or anything. For me personally, it's absolutely fine. However, if you're the sort of person who for some reason likes to change DPI a lot, then it may be a little bit of a concern for you. So what's my verdict on the Pulsar Xlite Wireless? Overall, I think it's a very solid mouse and just everything about it ticks the boxes. I do have some very long-term durability concerns. However, I want to make it clear that there is in no way any immediate concern. There's not really any flex on this whatsoever. It's just whether in the long run this is a good idea or not. I can very easily see myself once upon a time having something on my desk, putting it down, maybe clipping that PCB out of place. So it'll be interesting to see what happens once people have had this mouse for a long time. Everything with it though ticks all the boxes in my opinion that the G Pro Wireless ticks for just around half the price. So especially if you prefer an ergonomic shape, I don't see why you'd buy the G Pro Wireless Superlight over this when this is going to be cheaper, does everything. If not, it has some things like the switches that are even better and USB Type-C. I'd love to maybe in the future see a smaller semi-ambidextrous, just one of the more common mice shapes, as that's something I personally really like. And if they can maintain this low weight and this low price point, then I think they're going to do really well as a company. $75, you can pay close to that for a wired mouse of a similar weight, so having it wireless, maintaining that low weight and good build quality is very impressive. I'm trying not to sound really positive because this mouse was sent to me, but this is genuinely and honestly one of the best value for money mice I've reviewed on my channel so far. If you enjoyed this video or found it helpful, please leave a like and even consider subscribing. If you have any questions, then don't forget to join the Techify Discord or ask me in the comments. If it's out by the time you're watching it, go check out my review of the Logitech G Pro Wireless. If not, maybe have a look at my gaming mouse tier list. Thank you guys for watching and I'll see you guys next time.